Today I am working on a project, a UFO, unfinished object, and that is the subject of this video today. It is a project that I started, I'm embarrassed to say I started it last year, and it was for the So Fruity contest, and it's a dress. It's a Burda style dress for my daughter, and it's been in my sewing basket for a year. So I am gonna try to finish that by June 30th and do a video about that, about the sewing. I do have a video showing tracing the pattern. I think I may have some cutting out of the pattern there also. So I do have the problem of procrastination and I may have a little bit of ADHD, but I have not been diagnosed with it yet, although it runs in my family. So you know, what happens with my sewing projects is there'll be one little thing that'll kind of stop me in my tracks. Like in this instance, I had the wrong color thread in my serger, and I need white thread in my serger, so it's like, oh, well, I'll just work on a different project, you know. But I need to finish this. I do enjoy sewing for my daughter. Very easy to sew for her. She's a regular size. Whereas, you know, when I sew for myself, I'm a plus size, and usually I require adjustments to my pattern. So this should be a fairly easy make, and I hope you enjoy the sewing. We'll bring you along for that. It is a mock wrap style dress. It has raglan sleeves, and it has elastic in the sleeves. And let me just show you I have it in a bag here. It's out of this really cute little cherry fabric. I have the whole thing in a bag. So I have everything cut out, and everything I need is in here. The casing and except for the elastic. So yeah. So we'll just bring you along, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Okay, thanks. Okay, so I'm just looking at where I left off on this dress. I have the pieces. Looks like I have the facings here. Looks like I actually interfaced them. And I want to see where I was at. Okay, this I believe is the front, and I need to sew the darts, and looks like I have them pinned. I don't see the line here. I'll have to check the pattern on that. Maybe the line faded. May have faded. That's what happens when you leave a project for a year. Okay, on this one, same thing. Oh, there's the line right there. I see it. Okay. I'll have to make sure I can see it on this one. Okay. Oh, I can just barely see it. I'm going to have to go over it. Okay. So I have that. And what is this? This is the skirt. Is this the skirt? I believe, nope, this is the sleeve. I think this is one of the sleeves, one of the raglan sleeves. Okay, and I know the raglan sleeves have darts on them as well, so I'm going to need to trace those. And let's see. Yeah, just trying to figure out where. And see, I did serge some of these finishes. I could have finished it differently. I could have done French seams, but I'm just retracing this dart because I can barely see it. Okay. Okay, I can just barely see the I actually think I marked this with marking the transfer or whatever, but I think I'm just gonna go over this with this pin so I can see it a little better. Just freehand it, and this should come out. It's heat erasable, so I'm gonna do that, and then I can pin this. This is the dart on the top of the sleeve, which that is an interesting shape. My heavens, it doesn't even seem there. Okay, so we can pin that. Got that marked. Pin it. We'll get some things pinned before we do some sewing. Do the sewing. Okay. I've got that. Okay, there we go. This is the shoulder. Here. So pin that. So I'm just gonna get everything like ready for the sewing machine first. Like everything all pinned, and then it will just go up quickly. All my darts pinned. You know, all of my seams, everything that I can finish before putting everything together, having all that done. It just makes it go a little more smoothly, and then it makes it easy to pick the project up, even like after it's been like languishing for a year in a box. Okay. So that is one sleeve ready for the sewing machine, and we'll just get the other one ready. Okay, I am gonna sew all of my darts. We'll start by doing that. This is the dart in the bodice, the front, the wrap. It really helped to just draw that line there, and you just sew off the dart, and I usually just sew off of it, and then I pull it and then cut the thread and leave a nice tail for that. And then I usually, and it kind of naturally twists at the top of the dart, but I usually do tie the ends. So I'll go back afterwards and secure them. So that's one dart done in one of the front pieces, and we'll do the next one. Okay. All right. We're going to do all the darts. A little back stitch at the top. I'm going to take my pin out. This is really easy fabric to sew. I need to get that pin out of the way. Okay, and I'm off the end. Okay. Can do like a few stitches off the end and then pull it. And that leaves you like a nice tail. That's the way I like to do them. People do them different ways, but that's the way I like to do it. Now I'm going to do the dart on the top of the sleeve. One of them. I have that one pinned wrong. I have to go back and pin it. And how about this one? I have this one. Okay. Yeah, I think I can manage this. Okay. I usually like to sew on the other side, but I think we can do it. Okay. Do a back stitch. Because I'm right-handed, this is a little more challenging to sew. Straighten it out if it gets funny. And I just usually go off of it a couple of stitches. And there we go. Okay, there's that one. And this one. See, oh, it's going to be the same thing. I'm just not used to sewing in that direction. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I have my two front pieces here, and I did press the dart. I pressed it down. The instructions said to press the dart down, and then I actually did serge this seam after the dart, sewing the dart and pressing it down, and same on this side. So the next step is, according to the instructions, is to sew the side seams here. So I'm gonna first pin these side seams, and I did jump the gun a little bit with the sewing the dart on the sleeve, on the top of the sleeve. That was actually later, supposed to happen later, but I'm not gonna worry about it. So I'm just gonna pin this, and then we'll sew that, and then we can go to the next step. And I actually think the next step is putting the sleeve in, inserting the sleeve. I really like these little blue pins. They're kind of flimsy, but I'm enjoying working with them. Okay, so get all my pinning done, and then I can sew that, sew this. And actually, I think I am going to jump ahead a little bit. So for the sleeves, they have you sew the sleeve seam also before you insert it. So I have my sleeve pieces here, and the next step is they have you, before the sleeve is sewn into the shirt, and I see why they have you do this late, because it's easier to manage. It's going to be a tight squeeze, but they have you sew this before you install it. I'm going to press this go ahead and pin this up flat and press it. I'm going to do things in a little bit different order than it says to. This I'm going to pin up, let's see, 1/2 inch. I'm going to pin this up 1/2 inch. Let me see if that's my elastic is going to fit. So this is the elastic I'm going to put in the casing for the sleeve. I really, before the Joann store closed, I picked up a lot of supplies, so probably good for a little while. So I think if I do this 1/2 inch, or maybe 5/8. So I have this serged edge here. So I'm just gonna press it before I, first, just so I'll have my pressed lines in. Now, let's see, I think about 5/8 of an inch is good, because that should give it plenty of room. And I'm just going to press it in place, and I'm not going to sew it until I have the sleeve constructed, but at least I'm going to pin it up and press it, have it pressed. So we're going to do that. Okay, this is my underarm seam here. Get that pin out. It's about 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so we're going to press this open. Go to the iron, press this open, and I have this pressing line already done, so that should help. Yep. So I should be able to do my casing, but that is not until after I insert the sleeve. Okay. Whoop. There. They're pressed down. That's the dart. And it's also sewn down. So I'm going to just press open these seam allowances. Go to the iron and do that. And then we're going to also do the sleeves, and they're going to be inserted. Hi everyone, Meg here. So here's my sleeve, okay, and here's my bodice. Okay, here is the front. One of the, you know how the front has a wrap, so one side of the wrap. So I am going to insert my sleeve here. I'm going to pin it in. That's the next step. And let's see. I have this backwards. I gotta turn this because I gotta have right sides together. Okay. All right. Now let me make sure I have the right side. Now, like I said, I should have waited to sew this dart because it makes it much easier to manage. That was supposed to be step 5, although I did not do that. So, oh, and I have the wrong sleeve here. It goes on this one. Okay. Okay, so we right sides together. And I have plenty of times I have sewn sleeves on backwards. So let's make sure everything, we'll pin everything. And of course I didn't do any, it appears that I did not do any notches here. I don't see any notches, so that goes like that. Okay, and this is, let me make sure I have that right. Everything's gonna line up if I have it right. Yeah, okay. And I have the right sleeve and everything. Okay, so we'll start here in the middle because we want this underarm to match. So I'm going to start there and work my way out. Okay. Looks like I lost my back tack there because that seam is coming open. But we'll get that pinned right in the middle. Right in the middle there. Okay. All right. All right. This in. This is the raglan sleeve, and after I sew this I am gonna just do a line of serging just to neaten it up. I could do a French seam, but I think I'll just do just serge it. Be the easiest. So that is what I've been doing for this project. Now, one of the benefits of doing the dart first is it makes it a little easier to iron it, which I did do. And I think, I'm not going to trim it. I think maybe I have to double check the instructions whether they say to trim it open, but I think I'm just going to leave it closed, just because I don't want to have like a lot of raw edges. Oh. This is requiring a tiny bit of easing in. Which is not unusual because sometimes they do have you do a little bit of easing on these. So I'm just going to do a few extra pins in here. So easy and nice and flat. Okay. Bring this around. This is the back of the shirt. Okay. It looks like this hangs over just a little bit there. It's supposed to, it's cut that way. Pin that in. And that might have been the case on the front. I'm going to double check that. This is going right in nicely. It's not requiring any easing at all. It is a learning process. So, let me see. Maybe this is supposed to actually go up a little, yeah. This is, the piece is cut so you have a little bit of a overhang there. There, that's better. Get it just right, just the way I want it. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I have my sleeve pinned in. I'm going to pin the other side and then I'll be sewing it, and then after that I'm going to serge it. Okay. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I am sewing my sleeve, my raglan sleeve into the bodice. Okay, so we'll start the little back tack. I'm using I took the table off of the sewing machine so that I'd have a little more space here to work. All right. Now here I have to make sure everything's nice and flat. Whoops. It's kind of going around a curve, so just gotta do it carefully. And I'll be cleaning up the seam allowance by serging it. These are really thin little pins, so if I accidentally hit it, it's not as big a deal because they would just like bend with the least bit of pressure put on them, so I don't think they can hurt anything too much. So okay, so I can take the pins out. Let me see how it went in. Looks like it went in okay. Oh, looks like I sewed this seam closed, which I'll probably fix that because I'm picky. So I'm just double checking the join and it looks pretty good. All the seams line up nicely, so I did go over it a few times. So I'm going to serge this now. Yeah. Okay, so this is what the seam looks like once it's cleaned up and serged, and I'm sure it's gonna have a lot of you know, wear and tear there, so that ought to keep it from fraying or anything. So yep. Hi everyone, I have both of my sleeves in, and I have them serged so they're nice and clean finish on the inside. So at this point I can do my casings on the bottom of my sleeve that I pre-pressed. So I'm just gonna pin these back up. I took the pins out so I wouldn't poke myself while I was sewing. So I'm just gonna pin this back up. I still have the nice press lines there, so it should go pretty easily. So I'm just going to pin these back up and then sew them. I'm going to start in an inconspicuous spot. And then after that I will be attaching facings to the neckband. Okay. Okay, I'm just doing the casing on the sleeve, on the bottom of the sleeve for the elastic. I'm going to do a little back tack there. I'm starting towards the back of the sleeve where you can't really see it. And I'm just sewing close to the edge here so that it'll be easy for the elastic to go through, and I'll leave like a little opening once I get around to the other side. This is 100% cotton fabric. It's very easy to work with. I guess it's like a calico. And I did get it at Joann's before they closed that last year. Did try to stock up on fabrics, so okay, now I'm almost to the spot here. That's probably enough room there, so I'm going to just do a little back tack there, leave a little spot there to feed my elastic through. So I'm going to take my pins out. And I can do the other side. Okay. Let's see. Starting to look cute. I did not do stay stitching, which I probably should have done stay stitching. Let me trim this off here around the neck, but it's pretty solid It is really pretty solid fabric, so I think it'll be all right. But I actually don't think it's said to stay stitching. The instructions are really, on the Burda patterns, they don't go into as many details as, say, for instance, Simplicity. So, but it's looking cute. It is looking cute. So I just have to do this other one. Okay. And maybe we'll get a little picture of it on a hanger. So these are my facings that I have them interfaced, and then I'm going to actually serge the edge, and these are going to go around the neckline. Okay, this is the back. Okay, and it kind of goes at an angle. So I just have to pin this. That is Casper. Here's anything. He likes to bark. Okay, I'm gonna sew these at 5/8 of an inch, and then I'm gonna finish this outside edge by serging it, and then I'll be applying it. There we go. I keep losing my back tack on this project, so okay. Let me just go clean up these edges. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I have my shirt prepared, and I'm gonna put my facings on. So hopefully everything will mesh up. So this has got to go around. So I'm going to pin this on, and let's see, let me find the middle. I know I should have markings here, but this is the back. Okay. So put the right sides together. And just pin this around. Hi everyone, Maggie here. This is my the bodice to the dress. I've been calling it a shirt, but it's the bodice to the dress, and I have my facings pinned on. I got them pinned on, so I am gonna sew them on, And then from there, after I sew them on, then I probably will do some understitching. So why don't I just get going on it? Okay. I'm probably going to do some understitching. I did have to kind of stretch the fabric a little bit to get it in the, once you put the seam binding on, I'm not seam binding, interfacing on, it does kind of, that layer is not as pliable, so yeah, I did have to like stretch a little bit to stretch that layer a little bit to fit everything in. And like I had mentioned, I probably should have stay stitched the other piece, but I got it to work. So we're going to put this in and we're going to trim it, and then I'm going to understitch and press it, and then I'm going to stop because it's almost midnight. And that is the witching hour, so to speak. I don't think I want to catch this dart in there particularly. I'm just going to kind of swing that out of the way a little bit. It's going to catch a little bit of it. And I did notice that the serger, when I serged the, on this other side, it did catch it, kind of like attached it a little bit. I don't know if that was the best way. See, you can see here, it just kind of attached it, which is fine. I'm just going to pull it out of the way a little bit. There. That'll just kind of hold it into the side a little bit, but I still don't think I want to cut it, trim it, because I don't really want to have raw edges. Although I suppose I could serge it, but we'll see. I can still make a decision to do that if it gets in the way at all. So, okay. All right. Oops. Okay, that is done. We'll take the pins out. And I can trim it. Okay, I'm just going to trim this down a little bit. It's just a little bit wide. Let me do a little bit of clipping around the neckline. Okay. I'm just going to do a tiny bit of clipping here in the around here, just to, in case it needs a little bit of. Just a little bit. Okie dokie. All right. So the next thing is going to be understitching. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so I'm understitching this facing just so that it will roll nicely. Check and see how it's doing. Good. Okay. It's a thread there. I think that's just a shadow. This is kind of bulky here. That's why it's important to understitch. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I have my shirt here. Pretty much I've got the facings on. Let me see if you can see it here. I'll hold it up a little bit. I haven't put the elastic in the sleeves yet, but I did do a little bit of pressing. And the next thing I have to do is I need to baste these front pieces together. I drew a little line. So I'm going to baste them, and then I can apply it to the skirt. So that is the next thing. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I am just basting at about 5/8 of an inch here. I think that's let me just get that set right. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I am just basting the two front pieces together here because it's the wrap, and then that gets sewn into the skirt. So I have my stitch set at actually 3, so it's just it's not a really big basting stitch, but it should hold everything together while I attach the skirt. And this does not even have a zipper or anything, but the top should open up enough to be able to get the dress on. So, and it's full enough, so we're just basting these pieces together. Okay, all right. So from there, I can put the skirt together and attach the skirt. Yay! Hi everyone, Maggie here. I am just, I pinned this skirt together and I am just sewing it. A good 5/8 of an inch. I measured it against the bodice, and so I need to have the good 5/8 of an inch, and I'm gonna press it open. So I'm just doing these seams, side seams for the skirt. And then this will be attached to the bodice, the skirt will be, and then I will be putting elastic in. I'm going to do it the way the instructions have you do it, which is you sew the bodice and the skirt together, and then you fold up the seam allowance and make like a little elastic casing that way. I'm going to serge the raw edge just to you know, prevent it from fraying, and also to soften it, because the serging just does kind of soften the it will kind of soften that seam and make it more comfortable, because it's comfortable serging. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I have my skirt all sewn together, and I pressed my seam allowances. So now I'm going to be attaching the skirt to the bodice. So here's my bodice here, and I have it like basted. I have my center front marked right here, and I have my center back marked also. I just marked it here with heat erasable pen. So I think the easiest way for me to do this is, I'm actually I gotta put the right sides together, so I'm gonna turn my skirt the other way, and I think what I was going to do is insert the no, actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to insert the bodice inside the skirt. I think that might be the easiest way to do this. And I'm like just sitting at my table here, so we can just like stick it inside here, and we just have to make sure we have right sides together. That's the main thing. Yes, okay, I have my right sides together. Okay, so, and this is my, I can still see the fold. This is the fabric fold on the skirt. I just drew a little pink line there, and this is the center back. So I'm gonna pin that, and I think everything should fit in nicely. So, okay, I'm gonna give it a good seam allowance because I'm gonna be having to make the facings out of, not the facings, I'm gonna be making the casing for the elastic at the waistband. I'm gonna be making that out of the, you know, out of what's left. So we'll do this. This is gonna go in here. I gotta line up my center fronts. Okay. I gotta find my skirt center front that I marked. There it is. I marked it, and it's also on the fold. You can still see the fold line. And I marked the center front to the front. So I am gonna pin this in. Okay, I think I'm gonna sew from the inside because that's what I'm the most concerned about. So I will just be pinning this, and I've showed you a lot of pinning in this video, so maybe I'll just zoom through this. So, you know, of course, line up the side seams. All right. Okay. And there's always the TV going in the background. All right. Okay, that side seam. And this side seam. Seam allowances are open, of course. I take it for granted that my students have some knowledge, but you want to leave your seam allowances open. Okay, there we go. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna finish pinning this and I'll be back. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I have the bodice of my dress inside the skirt, and I am gonna attach the two. I have them pinned together. I'm making a nice 5/8 of an inch, or a little more than 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, because it's going to be used as a casing also for the elastic. So what was I going to say? Yeah. I did purchase some seam binding, but I think I'm going to do it the way that they are recommending, because I just don't want to add another layer of anything in the waistband, because it's pretty thick with the overlap. So, and the elastic is mostly just to bring it in a little bit. Okay, so I have my dress put together, okay, and this is, you know, I have the skirt and the bodice attached, and let me show you the inside here. Okay, this is what it looks like. So, and I did press it up a little bit, so I'm going to be making a casing out of this, and I'm going to have to use fairly thin elastic. It doesn't have to have a lot of give to it, I don't think. I think this should work fine. So I'm actually going to pin it from the right side. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to pin this from the right side, and then I'm going to sew my casing line from there. I can kind of see where it ends, and so I think that should be pretty easy to do. So we'll do that and we'll come back. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I have my dress on the sewing machine, and I am now sewing the casing for the elastic and the waistband. I'm starting like in the side seam here, where my back tack won't be very noticeable. I have it pinned up. It's the seam allowance that I'm making the casing out of, and I can kind of feel where the fabric ends there. So hopefully we can get this on here, and I want to stitch it from this side so it'll look nicer. So okay, here we go, and hopefully I can get it nice and even. too. I'm just going to go nice and slow. I am kind of eyeballing it and just trying to make sure I stay on the so I'm going to go back in afterwards. Have the free arm on my machine, so I decided it would look better if I sewed it from this side. It's a little bit of a risk because if I have any skip spots, that's going to be, I'll have to go in and fix them. Know until I finish. Okay, this is like really bulky here. Hi everyone. I had to stop for a second because it does get tricky with these layers here, and some of this got caught underneath, so sometimes with these details you have to like get way just right into your machine, and it might not look very pretty on camera, but I have to like get way in here because the layers have to be flat underneath, and I think how I pinned it, I may not have gone through all the layers there. So hopefully I have it now. We'll find out soon enough. Sometimes you just end up trudging ahead. Able to inspect, and it looks like everything else is going in fine. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I'm just going to put my elastic in. I just have to put my elastic in the dress, in the waist and band, and in the sleeves. And I sewed up a size 12. In this, it's actually a little large. Will be a little large, but according to the size 12, it says for the waist to cut a 28.5-inch elastic, and I am going to try to use this a little bit wider elastic. This is a 1/2-inch elastic, so I think I did do that wide enough to do the 1/2-inch elastic. So and I didn't realize, but I didn't leave an opening, so I had to actually pick the opening, pick out an opening when I sewed the placket. So this is 18 inches, and it said 28.5. So we have 18 plus, maybe I'll just round up to 29 inches. So I'll do 18 plus 11. So I'll do that for the waistband because I usually overlap it. And then I like to make a little mark on the side, both sides, just in case it gets twisted when you're inserting it. I make a little mark on it so that I know that I have the right side, because you can always straighten it out, but if you sew it twisted, you're done for. So we're gonna just put this in with a safety pin. Okay, and I left an opening on this, I believe it was this side. Where is my opening? Oh, there it is. Okay, oh my gosh. Okay, so let's see if I can get in here. Okay, that went right in. Okay. So we'll just feed this through. And then of course you want to put a pin in here so you don't accidentally do the elastic all the way through. I'm just going to put a little pin here. So it doesn't accidentally go through all the way. And I gotta be careful I don't stick myself. Okay. I think this is gonna be a cute one. It's casual, but I think it'll be comfortable. Okay. I had to kind of turn it, feed it back, and then go through and come and feed it back through, kind of towards the back, to get around this wrap portion. But I'm almost to the end here, and then I can adjust the gathers. So trials and tribulations. Okay, I'm just measuring my elastic for the sleeves. I did finally get the elastic in the waistband. It was quite a endeavor. So for the sleeves, it's the pattern says for size 12. It's 10 for the view that I'm making. It's which is the short sleeve. It's 10 3/4, but I'm going to do 11 inches. Okay, and I'm going to mark both sides of the elastic. So I do my two sleeves, put the elastic in them. Okay. Oh, we're almost done. Yay. Okay. Alright. I'm just putting the elastic in the sleeve cap. This one I think I will close up, but I'm going to leave the waistband open, because sometimes the sizing on that can be variable, and I might have to adjust that, so we'll wait a minute. Just put a pin here so I don't lose it. I won't lose it. You could wear it without elastic. It actually would look cute without elastic even. But I think, yeah, I think the elastic is cute. Just pinning up the hem. I'm going to do just like an inch hem here. Just do an inch. Yeah, pin it up a little bit. Rather than eyeballing it. Then I'll sew it. Okay. The hem has like a slight curve to it, so I think it'd be better to pin it up and then press it. Hi everyone, Maggie here. I am just sewing my hem. I have it all pinned up and it's serged, and I'm going to sew it from the right side because I'm going to do it by machine and I want it to look nice and even, so I don't usually do it that way, but I just thought I would try that this time. So I'll have a nice even hem. And in the pattern, they sew it by machine, so that's why I decided to do it that way. It's a 1-inch hem. The dress is all twisted up. Okay. I'm just doing a couple of stitches. I should put a label in it. If I put a label in it, I'll hand sew it, like maybe a little label that says handmade or whatever on it. I just noticed this was popping out a little bit, so I'm just going to put a couple of tacks in. Maybe that's it. Let's see. Let's see if that might be sufficient. I think so. I don't want to put too many tacks in. Okay, there's the finished dress. I think it's going to be very comfortable and easy to get into. And I hope my daughter will like it, and maybe we'll get a picture of her wearing it soon. So some of the details are that it has this wrap front, so you don't, it doesn't need a zipper or anything. You can just get right in it. It has the elasticated sleeves. It has elasticated waistband, and let's see, here's the hem, just a very simple hem of, I just serged it and then just hemmed it 1 inch, so yeah, and I think it turned out nice, yeah.